Hi Paleosaurian, Isaac, hi Jurassic Terror, welcome to the stream. Hi Sassy. Guys, let me know how the stream is looking, because I get here apparently a problem arose that the video has the wrong size or something. It's strange. But if everything works, I don't care. Everyone. Online now. Hi, yes man. Welcome to the stream. Oh, apparently it's okay now. Well, I hope it's just the internet. That would be nice. Or it's maybe it's a combination of my internet and your internet. Both equally shitty.
I'm back.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. I said I'd be back yesterday when I left to go see my family, but then I wasn't because my family wanted to do something. And I just got back from a 2-hour drive from Illinois.
Oh, ha.
And I saw all of the little things that Hector was drawing in the non-stream art chat, and I must say, I really like them.
Nice.
Have you seen them yet?
I think.
They're
you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
The game, the game designs, yeah.
Oh, they're for a game?
Yeah. And apparently they found a coder.
Oh! That's very nice. I quite like the designs too.
Yeah, when you scroll up, you can see one of the maps and stuff like that. And the pterosaurs for that, and the aquatic creatures. I think, what do we have here? Some Onchopristis, Archelon, Plesiosaurs, stuff like that.
I also saw Yo-Yo's designs for the stream comics, and I thought they were quite cool.
Yeah. I had the idea maybe I should do my own version on the stream today.
Oh, yes.
That could be nice. It's something quick to do. Also, we can collect a few more designs maybe for Yo-Yo.
Yes, I remember I did on one stream draw you, Nick, and I in a cartoony fashion. It wasn't as any prehistoric animals though.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think I have seen it, but I can't completely remember it. Can you repost it?
Yes, I can, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
I have my sketchbook right here with me, so that shouldn't be a big problem.
Good.
But I thought those turned out very nice.
Yeah.
I can figure out what page of the sketchbook it was on. Here it is.
Oh, that was fast. I usually search for specific sketches for half an hour. Just going through 300 pages and where is it, and then remembering, oh, it's in the last sketchbook.
Quite. That does happen to me a few times. My sketches are fairly organized, as I usually complete an entire sketchbook before I start a new one.
Yeah, me too, but sometimes I forget where I have what sketch put in. And there's so huge difference in terms of output. Sometimes I do 6 pages within just a few hours, and then for a week just 1 page. So.
I believe I filled probably around 3 pages in a whole day, at least with paleo stuff before. But for my comic, I definitely filled up to 5 a day. I posted it in the finished sketches chat.
Nice. Ah, yes. So nice.
Thank you. So what I learned today is I don't know anything, and I'm kind of an idiot because I went to Illinois to see someone who studies plant phylogeny. I believe I talked about on the show before. Which we stopped talking for a while, but then we started talking again. So I went to go meet them today. And they took me to their lab and showed all the pressed plants that they had, and they took me out for a walk and like pointed out all the species and talked about plant phylogeny. And they actually do studies on plant phylogeny. They publish papers on plant phylogeny. Nice. They have a huge library of pressed specimens, and they just knew so much. They taught me about different types of pigmentations in plants. And molecular studies of them, and the different groups that are considered polyphyletic. And they went into really big detail about how they conduct these studies to find their placement. And then they asked me about dinosaur phylogeny. And I found myself not being anywhere near as capable of explaining it in very precise terms as she did. I had to get out a little piece of paper and do little doodles. And then she'd ask, well, how do you know all these stuff? And I'd be like, well, from different characters put into a system that I don't know how it works because I've never done an actual study. I just read other ones. So it was a humbling experience being with someone who's an actual scientist who publishes stuff that is around the same age as I am.
I had the same experience when I first met Sven Sachs, and I was at his home and he showed me the holotype of a new plesiosaur he was working on, and he talked about that stuff, and I was like, damn, I only understand every second word.
Yeah, no, that was exactly it.
Yeah, and I think it would be the same with me because I'm no huge phylogeny guy. I can explain you very superficial dinosaur phylogeny, but I think over the last few years there happened so much that at some point I just said, okay, fuck that. I will not dwell in too much into that. It changes too much too quickly.
Yeah.
And it's not so important for my work anyway. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. I would say, as I said, maybe Yo-Yo's little comic characters would be nice to try. So I will do that, I guess.
Good.
Itchy nose. Oh, why is this window still open? Okay. Let me see. Where was it posted? Oh, I think I have to scroll up pretty far for some reference. Ah, yes, here. Where to start? Let's start with your character, the Sinosauropteryx.
Yay.
Yay. I'm not actually sure if I will color this.
Valid either way.
Yeah.
Darn. I accidentally closed down the stream tab.
Oh.
And okay, back up. It's all good. Big round.
Oh, actually, maybe we can get Yo-Yo here on the voice chat. Oh, he dropped out. The moment I said it. Or maybe it's what was late. But if you hear this, Yo-Yo, let me know. We can unmute you for this special occasion.
I would say that a good rule of thumb for streams going forward is I'd say a amount of 3 people in the voice chat at a time would be good. I feel like any more than that and it could get cluttered.
Yeah, it gets very quickly cluttered.
Yeah. We all remember the future is wild stream.
Yes.
How many people were in there? Like 8?
Too many.
Too many. Far too many. Whoa, buddy. Sorry, there's a guy. Oh, okay. I need to turn down the volume of the stream because I just heard my voice. I forgot that I'm watching the stream, but I had the volume on it. Hope that doesn't affect me. I guess I'll use this opportunity to talk about something that I've been thinking about recently, involving weasel behavior, because there's not really anywhere else for me to just discuss it. And it's a little bit off topic, but what is the topic anyway? So,
yeah.
Joshua, how familiar are you with terms that describe the different behaviors? Are you familiar with the war dance?
Not so much, I think.
I will explain. A war dance is something that weasels do. Sometimes as a play behavior, other times as a means to confuse their prey, where they arch their back and kind of dance, but hop back and forth, roll over themselves a few times, and just act confusing in a way that lets their prey put their guard down long enough for them to make a successful strike. Domestic ferrets do it as mostly a play behavior, and they get quite excited and fumble around and bump into things because they have poor eyesight. And so there's that. That's the war dance. And then another thing that is documented in weasels is called the speed bump, where they will be running around, having a good time, and then suddenly they will just stop. They will lie completely flat down on the ground with their limbs tucked in, and you can pretty much not see their limbs at all, and they just become a flat noodle on the ground, and that behavior is called a speed bump. And not much research has been done into why they do it, so I'm just going to throw out a few ideas that I have had, which are just my ideas and shouldn't be taken seriously at all. Because as we know, sometimes things in biology make intuitive sense but turn out to not be the case.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think is a likely cause for these animals, or a possible cause for these animals to exhibit this speed bumping behavior, is that weasels have incredibly high metabolism. And they lose a lot of heat fast because they don't have very thick coats. Even the cold adapted ones don't have a very thick coat. And strangely enough, one study shows that it may be somehow connected with the length of their hind limbs, but I won't go into that now. But so the weasels lose a lot of energy quick and lose a lot of heat quick. And I would assume that this speed bumping behavior, which they do whenever they take a break during their play, is just them entering a position that saves as much energy as it possibly can. Because they literally just go limp and go flat down on the floor. Another possible explanation is that it's hunting adaptation that allows them to go further down and be less detectable by its prey by flattening itself out along the ground. So there might be that as well, but at the end of the day, we don't really know, and we may never.
No, sounds reasonable. Both explanations.
Yeah.
You would
I would
need,
call it close enough.
You would need a way to monitor their metabolism very closely to prove the first one, I guess.
Yes.
And the second one is, of course, something we can't really prove. At least I can't think of any experiment that would show us what they are doing, really.
And also there is the classic explanation that they just do it, and there really isn't a reason.
They just like to do it.
They just like it. You know, that has been the case sometimes with weird animal behaviors, where it's just like, they just do it. They don't... Yeah. They just like to do it.
Or they are religious.
Yeah.
And that's their way of praying.
Ah, yes, yes.
It's usually in archaeology when we observe something, an artifact that we can't really make sense of. It's mostly like, oh well, it's something religious. And and when it comes to animals, it's often like, oh, it's something for display. Especially in extinct ones.
We should switch it around and make sure that any artifacts that we can identify in archaeology are for display, and any strange and anatomical things we find in extinct animals are religious.
Yes. The horns of ceratopsians show that they were highly religious and had popes and churches.
Yes. The crest of Corythosaurus is actually a hat worn by the popes in their religious community.
Yeah, that makes only sense.
Now, Edmontosaurus, which doesn't have such a big crest, were obviously atheists. The same with Leptoceratops. It went down the path of agnosticism, and thus does not have an impressive frill.
Yeah. So first sketch is finished.
Very cute.
Cyno. Sauropteryx. Kirby. Burpsh.
Good.
Next one. Okay, guys, let me know what we could do. What stream character we could do next. I think I will not do myself.
Aww. No self.
I say to Yo-Yo, draw me like a monument of all your sins. It was a quote from Halo. Because I can't really pick something.
What exactly would be a character from our streams besides just us? Are we including like people in the chat, or are we including
people from the chat too? Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Yeah. For example,
like
Julian coming in and already knowing what's next, you know.
Oh yeah.
Or of course Ashley, with her hate against certain marsupials and
snails, and so she started drawing the flying ones.
Yeah, and milk fetish.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, Zach. These are our characters from the stream. We in the voice chat and you guys in the chat.
There are fuzzonas. I am sorry for saying.
Oh, Yo-Yo is an Allosaurus. Let's do an Allosaurus.
Yay!
Allosaurus is a good thing.
You know, I actually kind of like that you didn't add a mask onto the Sino, because it does kind of fit in with possible individual variation within the species.
Oh, I didn't even thought about that actually.
Oh, so you just forgot to put the mask.
I just forgot. It's unique on accident.
Well, yes. I am the unmasked Sinosauropterid. Or since actually, would it be I'm even more masked? Is the white part the unmasked part, or is the reddish part the unmasked part?
I don't know.
That is the question. So, depending, I'm either unmasked or I'm even more masked than usual.
You are super masked.
Yes.
So
Was the Allosaurus scale impressions ever published, or is it still waiting?
I think it's still waiting. I can't remember seeing anything like that.
I believe it was on a juvenile. And I know that there's a considerable debate about where on the body it was.
As usual.
All we know is that somewhere on Allosaurus there were scales. I believe that it goes back and forth between being on like the belly and around the shoulder.
Well, it's somewhere.
Or just... My goal this weekend is to finish my Leptoceratops paint. I don't think I'll be able to get it. I try to date on friends, because every now and again my friends will be like, "Hey, do you want to go?" And I'm happy to say,
Oh, audio is very choppy in the moment. I hear only parts of what you say.
hold on, it might be the area that I'm driving through right now.
Oh, you are driving. Okay, yeah. Your driving voice sounds a little bit like Tristan.
I should be leaving the bad area.
Oh yeah, audio is totally fucked in the moment. Oh god.
was making noises until I could hear myself on the other side. Ah, damn it.
No, bye, Juan. Have a good one. Okay. Let's see where this goes. Maybe a body pattern on his tail here. That might be nice. Yep, there you go. Maybe some more scales to give it a little bit more structure. Okay guys, I'm nearly finished. Let me know who we should do next. You can also vote for yourself, by the way. Yep. Allosaurus. Yo-yo. Saved. Allosaurus freckles. Yeah. Please. Yeah, please write down who you are. What you are. Pedro, probably a Torvosaurus, Gurney. That's a good choice. Let's see. Dodo. I'm a dodo. Yes, you are a dodo. What's up, homies? Everything is up. Of course. I thought that was obvious. You're a T-Rex. Damn sexy. That's dark. It's let's do a dodo. That's relatively easy. Good thing about these ROMs is I don't really have to look at references, and they are quickly done. Wait. Nah, 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 nah. Better. Yep. You look so tasty. Yeah, slightly. Okay. Nah, too dark. Oh, I forgot the nostrils. Let me set it later, probably. Looks very unprofessional, I would say. Oh, and maybe... yeah. That's better. Dodo unprofessional. Nice. For the next drawing, I vote for Guan Long. But who is Guan Long? Is there a Guan Long? What do we have here? We have a Taurosaurus, a Spinosaurus, an Artstarket, a bird. I'm not quite sure what kind of bird. Darwinopterus, an Ichthyosaur. Pachyrhinus Taurosaurus. Obviously, I'm the best choice. Yes, you are. But that doesn't mean I will do you. Wait, I have to get something to drink. Yes, that's true, Ceci. This is no normal stream, or at least for now. I'm only doing characters of the stream. That means me, co-hosts, and people who regularly join the streams, basically. And a few people on Discord. And I actually already did Guan Long in one of the earlier streams. Okay, let's do an Artstarket. Short-necked Artstarket. Okay. I should probably... Yeah. Change the brush settings so that the lines become more, yeah, more fluent. I should have done this from the beginning. I just noticed. Better. Yep. Oops. Okay. Dark face. And yes, and some yep. Let's dark it. A small one. Although I just noticed that the head could be larger. Let me change that quickly. And maybe I make the torso a bit smaller. Yep. Start it. Sexy. Yes, and next one. Feather serpent god and rhymes with pretzel. I was never aware that Quetzalcoatlus rhymes with pretzel. Do Zach. What was Zach again? Please tell me. What do you think of Gabriel Gueto as a paleo artist? I like his stuff mostly, especially his species portraits. Sometimes I feel his landscape stuff is a little bit too stiff, maybe. Otherwise, I really dig it. Yeah. Oh yes, Julian, our Anchiornis. He can't speak for himself right now. Okay. Oh, by the way, guys, if you guys have very specific animal or composition or whatever in your heads that you want to see me draw, and you want to make sure that's exactly how you want to how you imagine it, then I recommend you to donate to the Old Kingdom, because since yesterday we made it official that when you donate 15 bucks or more, you get a free sketch of whatever you have in mind. Yep. So ever evolving Saurian, I know that problem. Sassy setzt eine Schleichwerbung. It's just a fact.
Hi, Joshua.
Ah,
Hi, Joshua.
yes, I hear you. Welcome.
Hello there.
Do we make this frequently now that Kirby drops out and you come in?
Yes, I was thinking that maybe I should talent as well to join to the stream. Don't mind it.
Yeah, nice to have you here. As you have probably seen, I'm drawing characters of the Paleo stream. have you chosen yet something that you would like to be drawn at as?
To be honest, I've just joined to the YouTube stream, and
Okay.
I wasn't quite sure what are the previous what were the previous results.
Yeah, so we have Kirby as a Sinosauropteryx, Yo-Yo, who created this comic, or basically he was working on such a comic, is an Allosaurus. What else? Then unprofessionally professional is a Dodo. When you go to the non-stream art and work in progress channel on Discord and scroll up, you come to a picture of posted by Yo-Yo, where he tagged everyone, and with a bunch of characters.
Was it again?
Non-stream art.
The non-stream art,
Yeah,
yes.
and when you scroll up, there's a bunch of game designs, and after that, one comes.
I see. I have missed a ton of things.
Yes, you have.
Scroll. I found it. The group of picture of the Paleostream squad. I have missed someone. Please tell me. Hope you guys like it. Who is me? So people on the drawing.
Yeah, it's so you everyone can choose an animal which she would like to be, and Yo-Yo and I will immortalize you.
Also, so we, me or Balint will decide what creature would like to be, and you will draw it in the stream.
Yeah.
So, Balint, could you tell us what kind of prehistoric creature would you like to be in Joshua's stream?
Maybe a Pneumatoraptor.
Oh, Balint is here as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I didn't even notice. Hello.
Hello.
That's quite strange, because in the right beginning I just introduced him to you, that maybe you don't mind that I asked Balint as well.
Yeah, then probably the audio hadn't kicked in yet. I think I haven't heard that. Sorry.
It's a strange thing, but I never speak English before.
Oh.
It's my first time.
Well, it sounds not so bad.
First time?
Thanks.
It's because Balint is a little bit shy.
Yes, I am.
Aren't we all?
He just has to work on his self-confidence.
Oh. That's okay.
We all love you, Balint.
But I don't love myself.
That's no ideal constellation, but better than not being loved by anyone. Think positive.
The more you know.
Yep.
So Balint would like to be a Pneumatoraptor, which is a Hungarian Maniraptoran dinosaur.
Yes, I remember that one.
So maybe I should design one as well. Should I be?
Maybe that little Hungarian ceratopsian?
No, that's a little bit overused at this point. maybe an Ostafricasaurus.
Oh.
That primitive
Yeah.
Spinosaur.
Yeah, a very 2C taxon.
You can make it look whatever the hell you want it to be. Like.
Yeah, I think I have something in mind.
So at least you will have a bit of freedom in terms of design, because as far as I know, it's known only from teeth.
Yeah.
So you are allowed to make it as awesome raw as possible.
It will be the direct opposite in a way of Julian's Anchiornis I just finished.
Well, if you want to, you can start with Balin's Pneumatoraptor.
Oh yeah, let's do a Pneumatoraptor.
That will be a nice transition.
Yes. Pneumatoraptor. Is there any more certain phylogenetic affinities for this guy?
Well, according to recent information written down in a recently, let's be honest, it's not that recent. It's quite a few years old, but
recent is relative in paleontology.
Yeah, because we are counting times in millions of years, so. It's quite recent if you think about it. But as far as I remember correctly, it's a Velociraptor in Dromaeosaur. But let me check.
It's really
maybe
related to Sinonitosaurus.
Ah, okay. So one of the lanky guys. Let's try this.
Oh yeah, it's a Paravian dinosaur.
One of these usual poorly known taxa.
Yeah. Because it is quite fragmentary, so it's not quite sure which one of the known groups could it exactly belong to. But based on its materials, it could be a really small sized dromaeosaur.
It looks a little like a duck now, but that's okay.
Well, it wouldn't be such a drastic change if we look at the changes in the design of the slasher horror dromaeosaur Balaur Bondok. And turn into a really cute creature. in my opinion, the best thing in these easily drawn, basically character designs about accurately depicted dinosaurs is that, first of all, literally anyone can do such drawings if they have some very basic knowledge about their appearance. So in terms of feather coverings and so on.
Yeah.
And it just makes it even more obvious that Pixar movies such as The Good Dinosaur just simply has no excuse anymore.
Yeah, it's
because those raptors were even by Jurassic World standards, they were quite horrendous.
yeah. I mean, it's it just shows that accuracy or credibility is no question of style. Yeah.
Yes, and not even just that, but even in terms of character design, it's just lazy as hell. And same, it's basically the very same exact stereotypical bullshit like with the hyenas in Lion King, but I guess because they are extinct, it doesn't matter anymore, except that it does because it's a movie for children in the first place.
Yeah.
And I remember that I have listened to a podcast about the movie itself from people who, by the way, don't really have any knowledge about paleontological related stuff at all. And they mentioned that it's such a big thing that finally the raptors have feathers because we know they have had feathers and it's so cool. It's not that simple. Just because you add feathers, it doesn't make it accurate.
Yeah, it depends what feathers you add, where you add feathers, how many, and of course the underlaying. If the underlaying anatomy is still wrong, it doesn't matter. It looks like crap still.
Yes, and usually this is when people usually come up with the excuse of cartoony style, so they don't have to rely too much on the anatomy and so on. But that's not really the case because if you do a character design about wild animals, you still have to make those wild animals recognizable. So if you think about the movie Lion King, okay, the lions are yellow and have red manes and it's quite unrealistic, but they still look like lions in the first place.
Yeah, I think Marty Cavill did a Dakota Raptor in Lion King style some time ago.
Yes, that raptor is really amazing. Although I don't think that originally it was a Dakota Raptor because
or a Ute-raptor, I can't remember, but I really like it.
Some kind of generic big raptor. It could have been Ute-raptor, but it was shared on internet way before Dakota Raptor was a thing. But yeah, that Marty Cavill's design about that raptor is an excellent example of how to make a cartoony design of a prehistoric animal to make it look work as an animated character, but make it look incredible as well in terms of scientific.
Even if you look at stuff like Ice Age, you have often character designs who are closer to the fossil animals than stuff you see in The Good Dinosaur.
Yeah, it's quite interesting if you think about it. Even with their dinosaurs, they did a pretty good job most of the time, except a few exceptions, maybe. They still fit to the world that they have built up to.
Yeah.
In terms of consistency. So you can say that yes, these are character designs from an Ice Age movie.
That's true. It's really has a certain feeling to the characters and in terms of design
Yes.
choices. But you still can recognize certain taxa and stuff like that.
Yes. For example, from the background dinosaurs, you can easily recognize an iguanodon
Yeah,
or a
or just
stegosaur.
like in the first movie, the Brontosaurus.
Although I didn't quite recognize the other Brontosaur with the weird horn on the weird shaped horns. There were two of them, and the gray skinned one looked quite a bit weird with its horn sticking out from its forehead and an almost fork shaped horn.
I can't remember that one. I know that one was Embolotherium.
Yeah, yes, the brown one looked almost exactly like a Brontosaur from Walking with Beasts,
Yeah.
but there was another one which was, even as a kid, I couldn't tell what was that supposed to be. About the other prehistoric animals, you could easily recognize which one are the Dodicurus or a Macrauchenia.
Yeah.
If you used to be a prehistoric animal geek, so you have already seen Walking with Beasts and such documentaries.
Yeah. Yeah. Zach, if this would be an Halchkaraptor, the legs would be shorter, and wings even shorter, and there would be a very long, thin third finger, and a shorter tail and a longer neck.
Probably a much smaller skull as well. We are basically implying that Haskaraptor would have totally different character design.
Yeah. Okay, guys. What should we do next? Let me know. Which people should we look at?
Maybe my Ostafricasaurus.
Maybe if nothing better comes up. We did now, I think. Yeah, we did 2 theropods in a row, so something else would be nice.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I think this is the most accurate Pneumatoraptor in the internet. Even if it's cartoon.
I mean, when I remember correctly, there isn't even very much paleo art of this guy, so that's easy.
Yes, and although we know that the Neometoraptor is quite fragmentary, but the very few known paleo art about this guy are quite questionable in terms of basic Maniraptor anatomy. Very classic wrist wings.
Yeah.
Sticking out from the wrist instead of the second digit.
They basically depict it as a velociraptor.
Although I must say, in my case here, the wings look a little bit like wrist wings in the moment.
I don't think so.
It feels not quite right.
At least this one has the excuse of being a cartoon design.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well, that's not really an excuse. Pedro, I just remembered, can you please give us viewers a full review of the game Saurian, like what you think about it, maybe things they did wrong? To my knowledge, they did nothing really wrong so far, and as you know, they constantly update it, and I can't really give you a review of the game because A, it's totally miles away from being finished, I know a few of the devs personally, so I know stuff that will still come into the game, and of course, you know, all the new playables that will come. And second, I haven't even played it because my computer is not optimized for that, and I usually don't play games, so I enjoy it in form of watching videos of it, if I enjoy it. So far, I really like it, but I wouldn't give a full... I can't give a full review of it. The only thing I know in the moment that I would change is calling the Edmontosaurus Anatosaurus. Because when you look at the very complex, extremely complex history of naming Edmontosaurus and related genera, you realize that you can't really use Anatosaurus because Anatosaurus isn't really the name for any specific fossil, but it was a name specifically made up for a bunch of specimens that had already a genus or species name beforehand. So the name itself is completely invalid, because to be valid you need to have a holotype, a specimen that first got this name, and that wasn't the case. Of course, this name was used in earlier times as a synonym for Edmontosaurus annectens, but I think it's not the right move. It might be true that Edmontosaurus annectens is distinct enough to be made their own genus, but that's always a question of the species concept you have. And yeah, and if it would be named something different, it would probably be Anatotitan or something. I'm not sure. Their argument is that it was genetically different. Yeah, of course it was genetically different. I mean, look at it from that's obvious. The question is how much different it was, and the problem isn't that it's different a lot from Edmontosaurus regalis. The problem is that the name Anatosaurus is probably not usable, because it was never really valid. Yeah. Okay, let's do Garrus Ichthyosaurus, and maybe after that the Ostafricasaurus. Yes.
By the way, did you save the Pneumatoraptor?
Which one?
So there, the Pneumatoraptor or the other sketches. So there are any chances of similar catastrophes?
Oh
Just
yes,
like in
yes.
the last-
I saved it.
Because I know that last time it was quite a catastrophe that
Yeah.
the turtle had to go.
Yeah, the turtle had to go. And because the stream isn't very much high quality, the screen shot was, of course, insufficient. But it worked.
By the way, talking about character designs of prehistoric creatures, it is keep in mind that it is also depends on the art style of the whole project itself. So, so if you look at the artworks of the talented artist Johan Egerkans, I probably butchered this name. You can see.
Yeah, should be close enough.
Is between the character design, but also between the fact that they are still recognizable to what we know currently from a scientific point of view. So his artworks are, for example, prime example of how to make a proper character design also credible as well. Basically, another pointy stick into the grave of the good dinosaur. Okay, it's quite getting sound like I hate it with my pure heart, that movie, which is not really, but I'm even as a movie, it couldn't really hold up, because if you watch a Pixar movie, you more or less have quite high expectations. So if the movie flops from the point of view of the paleo community, but also from the general audience as well, with really diehard fans, it pretty much says a lot, because we have discussed this with Balin before, that the production of was almost like a hell, the production of Disney's dinosaur.
They basically reshooted the whole movie.
And if I remember correctly, they were changing directors instantly.
Yeah, in the end, The Good Dinosaur is just a silent movie with some dialogue.
Yeah, which couldn't really be a problem, because if you look at another Pixar movie, which is one of my favorite, the WALL-E, the whole first such a silent movie with following WALL-E, the little tiny robots, life in a post-apocalyptic junkyard world, which is basically a planet itself.
Yeah, there are a lot of very good examples of silent storytelling out there, so I think that's not a problem, obviously.
Mac did a really good job on doing this.
Mm-hmm.
With Jack himself just walking constantly in the region, cool soundtrack. They have managed to capture the atmosphere of the whole episode.
Yeah.
Jack walking around and sometimes having fights. You don't quite need to have overcomplicated or very deep monologues to manage to be able to produce a not necessarily
think there. I saw some time ago.
I mean,
Oh, I think audio is very choppy, and I talked over you.
what was it again? The audio was kind of.
Audio is rather poorly in the moment. You come in and out again.
I see you are going for a rather orca-like color pattern.
Yes.
Gotta follow those basic paleo memes.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, memes are there memes are there to avoid them and to embrace them.
So
the important
because we
is
know
that you know the meme.
Sea reptiles may have had very dark colors, which are quite understandable if we look at, for example, the leatherback turtle, fossils of mosasaurs.
Yeah. Although there were apparently a few problems with that color study that found dark pigments all over the body of Stenopterygius.
What was it again?
There are apparently a few problems with that study that found dark pigments all over the body of Stenopterygius, an ichthyosaur.
Oh.
Yeah. Because there is apparently a skin layer in marine reptiles that has always very dark pigments. Or in general, I think in marine vertebrates or tetrapods, I can't remember. So there is a certain uncertainty about these findings.
So this could mean that only that very basic color has remained. So it could mean that perhaps the animal may have had different colorations as well.
Yeah. Problem is that these very famous fossils of Holzmaden, these Stenopterygius with body outline and so on, they don't really preserve the skin. They preserve something else.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't show you really the surface of the skin. That's it's for example still possible that ichthyosaurs actually had very many tiny scales too, like we didn't know for plesiosaurs until Mauriciosaurus was found.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Garrus Ichthyosaurus. Done. Next one. Oh yes. Before I forget, Ostafricasaurus.
Yes. Dino Croc. We have already got that from Jurassic World. The creature designs are basically almost as problematic in that movie as the character designs in Good Dinosaurs. Yeah, just
even more problematic, I think.
Yes, especially if we consider the importance of movies in dinosaur renaissance or during the dinosaur renaissance, because these are the medium that people usually follow. So this is where we still get very tiny bits of information from kid. And keep in mind that, for example, the Warner Brothers pictures, the very first Warner Brothers pictures with the Warner Brothers themselves, had really high impact on American culture with their self-aware type of movies by showing the real side of America and the prison and at their prisons of what is the darker side of the prison America as well. So this is why basically their movies are the reason that in America there were the prison reforms. I'm not sure if that's how I speak in English. And movies kind of have on their viewers is with the first Jurassic Park movie, because there is a reason if you go to a very cheap dinosaur park and you can literally see very of Jurassic Park dinosaurs. You can find a T-Rex design in a very so because the behind the park thought that okay, this is how Jurassic Park, so maybe that's how dinosaurs look like. So that's why they look like Jurassic Park copycats in the first place. So really understand that people usually like to come up with the
audio is extremely choppy in the moment again.
We have had venomous Dilophosaurs and almost blind T-Rex, but keep in mind that this is just the whole picture. The whole picture is about the fact that Jurassic Park was basically one of the first movies which in a warm-blooded active way, which at the time, which at its time was kind of almost as revolutionary thing as today, dinosaurs with more accurate proportions and feathers. That's why I think, in my opinion, that the Jurassic World movies are the most harmful movies. It's almost like when the 60s or 70s there were so-called slurposaurs, which were actually monitor lizards and alligators, dragons, and seals, making them look almost like palace statues, which in the 60s even the most average person found ridiculous, because they already know from older movies such as Valley of Gwenji or King Kong movies or the Lost World movies that that's not how a T-Rex or an iguanodon looks like.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that today with the Jurassic World movies, it's literally the same thing happening all over again, except the difference is the general public doesn't really have an update about dinosaurs, because since the very first Jurassic Park movie, there hasn't to the general public's of representing dinosaurs based on the current view of science itself. So I think.
I give you a little bit of a feather code here. Hope you don't mind.
Really mind. Megalosaurids with feathers are quite neat idea. Not much to support it, but there is not much to support the idea of them wearing ceratosaur like osteoderms either. Because if you look at Spinosaurus, Spinosaurus with these almost circle-shaped osteoderms running down its side of the body, like ceratosaur osteoderms, even though we have evidence for it. We also see, for example, Tyrannosaur, cone-shaped spikes. There is not much to support that idea either, that Coelurosaurs may have had them or not. People start to complain about feathers
to my knowledge,
on
there
Tyrannosaurs.
is not one Coelurosaur with osteoderms so far found. So
which one was it?
There's no Coelurosaur so far.
There is no.
Yeah, known with osteoderms. So if we follow this line of evidence, we shouldn't really put osteoderms on them.
Because okay, I personally I really like designs made by David Krantz, who's a really talented artist.
Yeah.
It's quite like the way that almost nearly any groups of his theropods, no matter they are carnosaurs or coelurosaurs, have these very rockstarish cone-shaped spikes. For the T-Rex design in Dinosaur Evolution, which was a little bit confusing to me at the time, because I'm a bit so it was to me to see that those fangs could turn into such osteoderm covered creatures at one point. It was just it just didn't add up to me.
Yeah. I don't. Also, it's a purely artistic choice, I think.
Yes, exactly. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that it wasn't quite. It wasn't quite fully a TV show either. Why would it? Why would they go through such drastic change, even though a document have this as its purpose to explain things on screen?
Yeah, it's a shame. Ah well. Your Ostafricasaurus is finished.
And it's pretty damn beautiful, especially with those patterns on the tail.
Yeah, it fits quite nicely. I mean, how many have we done so far? Let me check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 already. But there is still time. So people, let me know what we could do next.
It's a pretty neat implication with this, with that little edge between the premaxilla and the maxilla, foreshadowing the shape of the future Spinosaurid.
yeah, a little inspired by Ostreptospondylus.
Yes, it's quite interesting that that most theropod groups, for example, even ceratosaurs, have started out in a similar shape in the forms of solophysoids.
Yeah. Oh well, it's not that surprising considering that at the base of every tree we have a lot of homoplasy, as it's called. So many groups that look very similar until they derive. That's one of the reasons why we apparently have in some dinosaur groups so many problems with sorting out their ancestry, because they all look so very similar.
Yes, I think that that was one of the reasons that there used to be this idea going around the internet that perhaps Dilophosaurus and its relatives were the ancestors of Spinosaurus, even though we currently know that that's not the case.
That's a weird idea. I never heard about that, but I'm not surprised that someone came up with that idea. Okay, Zach, let's do your Pachyrhinosaurs. We had no ceratopsids so far. We had so many theropods now. But first I will get a little bit more to drink.
You have to keep yourself moisty.
Yes. I need to stay hydrated.
I always keep. That's why I always keep a little bit of water around myself as well.
Okay, Pachyrhinosaurs. Pachyrhinosaurs, I think, is a very good animal to turn into something cartoonish.
Well, it could be better than the whatever the hell that Ceratopsian was in Good Dinosaur, which looked almost like an Agataumas by Charles and Knight.
Yeah.
Not quite sure what was the production explanation behind it.
I have no idea what they thought when they did that. Wait, let me have a look at the correct ornamentation on Pachyrhinosaurus.
Well, it depends on which species you want to.
But
because as far as I know,
but before I make the mistake and mix up the features of the different species, I will have a look at some examples.
Because as far as I know, the Predatorum species is the one which has this corn-like ornament between its eyebrows on the frill. I think they were the ones in the Walking with Dinosaur movie.
Yeah, probably. Yes, here is a nice thing to work with. Okay. Back to basics. little bigger. Okay.
Did you just break it still?
Probably. Totally on purpose.
I mean, it's a supposedly cartoony design in the first place, so they are forgivable.
Nah, not really, but
It's so it's quite all right if
oh no,
if your animated character has wrist wings or something. If you are animating a dromaeosaur, because at least it gives you a freedom to animate the gestures of the character itself. All right, in my opinion.
oh god, now the tablet begins again to bug out.
Oh, it's happening again.
Yeah. Let's see.
So-
Sometimes it's enough when I just scribble a little or wiggle a little the cable.
I'm starting to think a little bit of Hungarian presence is the one which is causing these.
No, that's not the first time. It has happened way too often by now. Okay. I thought for the moment it was gone, but no.
Hey, Balint.
Hmm?
You know what is it? The tablet is broken. Inside joke, you won't understand.
I mean,
Joshua,
yes.
I have a question for you. What is your favorite medium?
Pencil, honestly.
Oh,
Pencil
then
on paper.
we are the same.
Still the best.
Although it requires the death of countless trees, but yeah, it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. I wonder, maybe I will try. I change the USB port, maybe.
There is a free painting program on internet called MyPaint. Actually, the painting tools are quite horrible in it, but its pencil tool is literally excellent in capturing the essence of pencil drawing. Maybe for one stream you should try it out. Because what is it?
What's happening?
But we can hear you. So 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 people. So does this mean that people can't hear you? people won't be able to hear you. I'm gonna ask, can you hear us? So they can't hear you. They only hear me. Which means I could say anything to people. What did you actually say about them? But they just heard what I just said, so I just fucked my evil plan. I am miserable. You should say something so people won't just hear me. Tell us a story about the Hungarian cryptid called Hutula.
Oh.
Explain.
I can't describe it. It's a really weird creature. It looks like a shoe, and it's a rodent.
It's okay. Honestly, it's a made up cryptid to prank people and basically make an ironic joke about an actual Hungarian cryptid called
They digest your feet.
About the
oh, I think it works again.
of Matronovac, which was a cryptid in Hungary, and which was turned out to be a hoax. And no, the Hutula is an ironic fake cryptid to prank people, and it's a rodent that looks like a shoe, and it consumes your food if you put inside it. Which sounds quite erotic if you think about it.
Guys, do you hear me?
I think they can hear you.
Okay. But for some reason you guys suddenly became very quiet. And I'm not sure why.
Have you checked the settings on...
Yeah, I changed nothing. But at least for my ears, you are suddenly very, very quiet.
Guys, are we quiet compared to Joshua?
Yeah, please, let us know if Balint and Attila are suddenly quieter, or maybe it's just on my end. I hope so.
Which means we should try to talk. Make it clear that are we more silent or not. Ever-evolving Saurian says not really, so perhaps it's only for you.
I hope so. Yeah. I will have a look at the there are very little options here to work with, so I hope it works. It's a little bit hard for me to understand you guys now, but let's just roll with it.
Maybe we should try to scream.
Or move very, very close to the microphone.
Yeah, maybe we should swallow the microphone. This stream has very easily turned into a war stream.
And worst of all, the tablet is still buggy.
The goddamn Hungarians, they are ruining everything.
Yeah, I will try now to draw with my finger actually, because I can't stand this anymore.
Well, I mean, that's what our ancestors did during the Ice Age, so it's quite retro style, but you should try.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks painful.
This stream has very easily turned into a speed paint video. Be careful with those lines. I just said be careful. Here we can see Wild Joshua trying to be precise during the progress of this artwork. Maybe we should be very quiet, but for this documentary we have to use the low-budget David Attenborough narration. Of years of evolution, the Wild Joshua has mastered the progress of fast painting and producing scientific illustrations for scientific papers. But now, after all those millions of years of adaptation, it still has to suffer with of using its very own digits to produce an artwork. Life is tough in this computerized world. I'm really sure that over the years he will prevail. Now the main theme starts to play. Alright, as it seems to fix his almost vintage styled mistake about the tail is acceptable. It's Paleorhinosaurus, an Arctic dinosaur. A very what the fuck face about the situation. To be honest, it's more like, please kill me right now or the artist, because he's clearly suffering.
Life is pain.
The cancerous side of the paleo community would probably start to complain the hell out of this illustration being completely featherless, even though the animal lived during the Arctic regions. But we are a Christian server, which means fuck you for being a hater. So fuck you again if you are a hater. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Balint, what do you think about the Godzilla trailer?
It's good.
Good. Surprisingly good compared to the last movie.
Oh wait, maybe I have a solution to that audio problem. I will get my headphones. Maybe it is louder when I wear them.
I'm gonna connect those dots for hidden meaning.
Maybe if you connect those dots on the body of the Pachyrhinosaurus, we will probably find a very well-known triangular shape with an eye on it and green coloration.
Yellow.
And perhaps if we do it, probably a very well-known music would start to play from a sci-fi TV show.
So many cables by now.
Maybe you should call yourself Cable after this point.
Ah, yeah, now it's better. Now it's better.
And fight against Deadpool.
Try.
Okay, I can work with that. Let's try that. Tablet again, and it seems to work again, at least for the moment. Oh. My sister just came in and showed me how often mosquitoes stung her.
It seems the wild Joshua's sufferings are over.
Yes, for
His
the
tablet
moment.
working again. Is what it means to adapt to your environment, because eventually you'll win. If not, you will die the hell out of this planet. Adaptable. Probably the shittiest moral parody that you have ever heard on this planet. Joshua.
But not of this universe.
this design has such a deeper meaning by having only 3 legs. I can imagine a very tragic backstory when it lost its 4 limb in an attack from a huge theropod.
Yes, especially because I now added the 4th leg.
Would actually be a pretty dark shit if you think about it for an animated movie.
Oh, that's worse. I mean, I haven't seen yet any children's movie dealing with stuff like rape, for example, but losing limbs is already a thing.
You probably never heard some really fucked up theories about Lion King, so...
Oh. Maybe I don't want to know. At least not obviously. And we have, of course, to consider that Lion King, for example, is based on Hamlet.
Yes, and for some reason they have 2 male lions in the same pack being rulers, while their cubs are not related for some reason, yet they kept them alive because, I don't know, lion liberalism?
Apparently. See, that's what happened when you The Lion King is basically a story of how things get fucked up in nature when animals don't start to follow their instincts.
Yes, and when they start to behave more anthropomorphically than how they should.
Yeah.
The conclusion of this conversation, perhaps Mufasa should have killed Nala and other, only Simba alive.
Okay. Finished. Pachyrhinosaurus named Zack.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it's a Pachyrhinosaurus.
I mean the artwork on its own is beautiful.
Okay. Okay, who is left?
Balint. The Godzilla trailer.
This looks promising.
What are you talking above my head there?
We are talking about Earth Beasts Awaken, the 2 hours long movie.
That would be it would be, at least for me, much more entertaining than any Godzilla movie so far produced. Oh, ever-evolving saurian.
I mean,
what was you again? What animal? I can't remember. Please tell me. Yes, we left you behind. No, you know, best for the last.
We left him behind, just like in any herd mentality. Keep the weak ones behind for the predators.
No.
Oh, and I was hoping for a Tyrannosaurus not happening in a Joshua stream.
Oh, I didn't see that coming unprofessionally. he did himself. It looks glorious in the work in progress folder channel.
In progress.
Yeah, it's the whip.
You mean the whips from the stream?
Yes.
Oh, it's Kioli.
It's a very special dodo.
It's for what it is doing with its wings. I think dodos did deserve the extinction.
Probably. Ever-evolving Saurian, of course I have to do you.
Quite weird if you think about the general public's view about Tyrannosaurus being the king of the prehistoric world, but how are we supposed to imagine it exactly? So one specimen was the king, or is it the whole species being the king? But then how is that a king exactly? It's quite weird because if you think about it, that's how every rather flamboyant arguments start to happen because of this anthropomorphic view of T-Rex itself having a kingdom, even though dinosaurs didn't really have the concept of kingdoms.
Yeah.
And so, how is T-Rex supposed to be the king of the dinosaurs, of all dinosaurs, if dinosaurs in Europe or Australia have never even heard of its name before?
Especially or have no concept of name.
I just wanted to mention that they didn't even know what are their own names are given by a damn dirty ape from millions of years later.
Yeah. Future apes.
Ever-evolving Saurian. I'm not criticizing your love for Tyrannosaurus. I'm just having a very weird brainstorming about the general view about T-Rex itself. It's obviously alright if you love the hell out of the animal itself for being an animal, what it was. The coolest thing that you can imagine. Because if you think about the shitstorm of arguments after the third Jurassic Park movie, or you can usually find people crying about literally calling that specimen Rexy being killed in the third movie. They killed Rexy, and so it's not even the same specimen. I understand what was the big deal about that scene, because in my country, when we as kids saw that movie for the first time, when it was aired on TV, because it was quite a limited, there were quite limited possibilities to watch movies in cinema as a whole. When we saw the movie for the first time and next day we thought about it at school, people really liked the movie itself, and they even liked the Spinosaurus itself. Not just the fact that it killed the T-Rex, being a really cool design as a whole, and for what it was doing. And keep in mind that I'm talking about kids from my same age. Don't really have as much of a fascination to dinosaurs as much as I did. think maybe it's a rather American thing to cry over that that to cry over that movie scene because just from my perspective it is quite childish that even after so many years people are still like to bring up that scene like almost like they just saw the execution of their family member or something.
Yeah,
Pretty
and then
much all.
the whole scene from Jurassic World 1 where this T-Rex breaks through the Spinosaurus skeleton and everyone was yes, revenge.
Yeah, there are even these very unnecessary role lore changes in the movies, almost like Jurassic Park movies have ever had such complicated lore. Spoiler alert, they didn't. And they had this weird retconnings about InGen back to Isla Sorna between the third and the second movie in 1998, and they did some shitty all over the place experiments, and that is when Spinosaurus was born, which is quite ridiculous because this means that Spinosaurus was only 3 years old in the third movie.
Yeah.
Mention in the fourth movie that they used this so-called cuttlefish DNA to handle the fast growing, which could mean that even Rexy in the first movie was grown super quickly. It just also means that how genetically fucked up the creatures of Jurassic Park actually are, and by doing this so classic Henry Wu conversation about dinosaurs not being pure DNA, it just means that they are not dinosaurs. So
And
fans
never
should
were.
stop calling it a dinosaur movie. So the movie literally fucked itself. And back to the Spinosaurus topic. Was I don't quite understand what was the point of this such complicated retconning because it was such a complicated thing to think that maybe the Spinosaurus was made during the creation of the Isla Sorna basement, and it was just got released during that hurricane that was mentioned in the second movie, and we just simply didn't see it during the second film because it was on the other side of the island. But for some reason, people, especially the very diehard fanboys around these movies, just couldn't comprehend this thought and cry all over the place, and eventually the heads behind the franchise have decided to do these complicated lore changes.
Yeah. I think I have the feeling now that T-Rex looks too nice, too uncartoonish.
It looks almost like it has a mustache.
Yeah, a little. But I feel it's style-wise. I feel it's too close to the real deal.
Maybe you should try to do some villainous designs, not just this kind protagonist designs.
Yeah, if well, I already did you.
But you know what I mean.
Well, then I would need to do myself. But I don't want to do that.
I mean, the good dinosaur had T-Rexes, and design-wise they were quite inconsistent as well, because only one of them looks like a T-Rex, while one of them looks like its skull is upside down and its lower jaw is the upper jaw.
Yeah, that's especially strange considering that in T-Rex we usually have the other extreme, that the maxilla is often very short.
Yes. Yeah, and it's quite a recognizable image about T-Rex having this big nose and eyes on the top of the head, cube-shaped skull.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand why did they move to that direction with the design of that T-Rex. And the one that looks a little bit more like an actual T-Rex, I think that was the female one. That one looks almost like the female T-Rex from the third Ice Age movie. It almost has the same osteoderms on its neck as well.
Strange.
And again, this is from a Pixar movie where quality should be the biggest point of the whole product. I mean, artistically, it is obviously a beautiful movie, hell of a job on the environment, but it just feels too weird that in such a photorealistic environment we see background creatures looking almost exactly like real creatures, but then we have these cartoony styled the animals. I think the animator behind Land Before Time, Don Bluth, said once that he doesn't really quite understand exactly that of making cartoonist or stylized character design so photorealistic if the designs are to add some kind of them during the animation. I mean, we do have superb animation, for example, in Hotel Transylvania, which is also a 3D movie franchise, but what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, let's see, who could we do next? I know there's a Torosaurus. Let's see, and I saw a Spinosaurus, but I don't know who that is. I also don't know who that Torosaurus is, but I would like to do one. What else is here? I don't know what that bird is. Oh, and I will have to go for a minute and give one of our cats something to eat.
Oh, that's important.
Yes, that's very important. Otherwise, my sisters will be mad with me, because he is relatively old now and not 100% healthy anymore. So he needs lots of attention. Yep. We'll be back in a second.
Good thing to do.
Yeah.
So, Palint, let's discuss about the Godzilla trailer. Why do you hate that movie so much?
You ruined this joke, know it.
I really like the new dorsal plates on Godzilla.
I love the older pointy ones. It was unique.
I don't think it was unique if your Godzilla looks like a very beefy version of Godzilla Jr. from the Destroyer movie.
But that was the concept of the design. It's beefy. It's chunky.
My problem is not its beefiness. My problem is with its plates. They should have added at least one of its back to make it, to give it that identical Godzilla shape.
But
Identical
they
as
do
well,
have
but
those.
but it's just not menacing that much as the older ones.
So,
And I'm really glad they fixed this thing.
Do you know what I really wanna see in a Godzilla movie? Stegosaurus plates. It's gonna be.
I'm really glad.
Mistake.
I'm really glad you are not the director of the movie. Fans would obliterate you. Emmerich.
Hmm.
But there is this really cool Godzilla design by the artist, and I'm going to butcher his name as well, named Chang Tat. Yes, I definitely butchered this name. And he had this really cool
The one with the feathers.
with the feathers. And not just because of the feathers, but overall its coloration with its redder voices with the reddish stripes all over its body and its very spiky shaped plates. They are really damn cool. The quills under the arm were just some really neat extra touch. Godzilla.
yeah, quicker.
A realistic Godzilla should look like a penguin.
Probably.
Ever-evolving saurian. This is Godzilla. Well, at least it's not the Zilla design.
Well, that's true. Also, the Zilla. I like that movie, but the design is too lanky. Definitely.
Yeah, I kind of like the movie as well because basically that was the first Godzilla movie I have ever saw.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I kind of
Actually,
like
it's the only Godzilla film I ever saw.
Ooh, shame on you.
Yes. Well,
Did you miss?
as you might know, I'm not so much into kaijus. Besides Earth Beast, maybe.
I have missed so many cringy things, such as the horizontal floating Godzilla or the flying Godzilla. By the way, I really like the Zilla design, but I see why would the fans be so outrageous about it, because it's almost like changing Batman into a very dark version of Superman. But if you
I think it's more like changing Superman into a cartoonish version of Batman.
That's probably true.
Considering that the Zilla design is in its behavior more down to earth. For example, it doesn't attack immediately everything, and it's in Manhattan for a reason, stuff like that. And
it's quite interesting that out of all places on Earth where there is barely any human population and it's calm as fuck, he has managed to choose the one of the loudest city on Earth to lay its eggs.
yeah, but at least there is a reason why it actually is there, you know? So that's my Godzilla design.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Much smaller than the new one. But actually not so far. It actually, in size-wise, it's actually not so far from the first Godzilla.
It's quite. It's almost as big as a very sauropod.
Yeah.
Two-legged thick sauropods. What about the Highland giant?
I heard rumors that it's actually a quadrupedal animal, and that it was misidentified.
So yeah, so much for our dreams about one of the largest two-legged walking animal. But it's quite makes sense.
Oh well,
because
but I heard about something else that could speak still for bipedal sauropodomorph of roughly that size.
Where was it?
At this year's EAVP meeting, I heard something. I will not talk about it here, but that was quite interesting. Okay, what was it? Torosaurus. Yes, let's try Oh, and yes, now let's first do Darwinopterus. I think that's Brennan.
Sassy Paleo nerd, have a good night.
Yes, good night, Sassy. Have a good one. Good thing about Darwinopterus is you can really relatively easily make it cartoonish.
Yeah, I mean...
Pterosaurs in itself are already quite cartoonish.
Cat and small body, they are almost like a cartoony. They are almost like a cartoon design in the first place. Especially if you think about that quite recent short animation for a pilot for Nickelodeon. With
Oh,
Man
yeah.
Kid and its baby dinosaur friend.
Yeah.
I don't quite remember what was its title.
Me neither.
It's actually quite sad that both Jurassic World and Good Dinosaur missed the opportunity to introduce the giant Darkids as menacing things.
Yeah, I mean there was this teaser during the production that showed an Darkid, but it was more like a old-fashioned Dinotopia Darkid. And
think it was shared in a cone, and it contained these quite retro-styled giant odds darkids, and okay, it's quite awesome, bro, the way the scene is handled, but it's quite menacing if you think about it, to be killed by such a gigantic and grabbed out from the ocean.
Yeah. Also, now if they want to introduce giant Azdarkids, I would rather like to see real Azdarkids, which are much more terrifying.
Yes,
This is one of the cases where reality is actually much more terrifying than the fiction of the Jurassic Park franchise.
Yeah, I just meant on a Jurassic World logic level, that compared to an Indominus or a Raptor squad, that would be quite interesting to see in cinema.
Yeah.
Maybe an Azdarkid and Theropod hybrid.
Yeah, or just think about how they freak out about the raptors breaking out, or the possibility of breaking out raptors in Jurassic Park 1. Now imagine a future Jurassic Park where they are, oh well, we can handle raptors, but then they hear, oh god, the Azdarkids are breaking out, and everyone is, holy shit, what should we do?
I mean, it's almost like a giraffe is getting released, but a giraffe with the head of a giant Morabu stork.
Yeah, but the problem is this giraffe would fly everywhere it wants.
Yeah. Well, at least we will have Rodan in the new Godzilla movies, so...
Yeah, that scene where from the trailer where he is released from the volcano reminded me very much of Earth Beast's Awakening.
On the general side of the Discord chat, that it's Earth Beast's Awaken all over again, but actually I think it's in the original Rodan movie as well, that it comes out from a volcano.
That's possible. And of course we have to remember that Brian was definitely inspired by these old kaiju movies.
Yeah. For designing quite realistic looking monsters, he interestingly went for a rather retro-styled design for the
I wouldn't even say realistic monsters, because I think they are hugely inspired by these classical old monsters, but also old paleo art.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, realistic in a sense that they feel like real creatures, that they are inspired by real creatures, not just scrapped all over around from other already existing monster designs, but from actual elements that you can find on actual creatures.
Yeah.
Kind of like in a Monster Hunter game, where you can feel the amount of work put into one monster's design.
Yeah.
And we are still waiting for the third Earth Beast Awaken video.
Indeed. I think everything is filmed, what has to be filmed. But it just has to be edited, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, sure, I can imagine it because Brian nowadays seems to have very busy projects.
Yeah, and
But he
I
had
think
his
he's also
Motorsport project.
a perfectionist, so he will take his time, and I think that's better than just rushing it.
Yeah. About that exhibition about prehistoric life. What do you think of his mosasaur designs?
The design-wise, I like it very much. I'm not so sure about the perspective he used on this animal. It looks like something went a little bit wrong along the line of the while drawing it, which I can totally understand because from photos I saw he works on quite large
He really
paper,
likes to
and when you aren't able
draw
to
them
really
all.
step back and take a look at such large drawings, you easily get small things wrong like that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw those images too. That he usually likes to draw his artworks on very big picture, very big papers, and then
Yeah,
scan
large
them.
sheets.
So
What are we talking? Large paper sheets. Yeah.
and I'm not quite sure about the Tylosaur design with that weird mouth tissue uh, basically closing right after the teeth, and then the rest of the snout being covered all over, giving it an almost shark-like appearance.
I mean, it's possible. And I find this idea interesting, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure, although I'm not quite sure what could be its main purpose to change so drastically from the monitor lizard type of facial tissue.
Yeah.
And
But of
I'm
course,
not
we have to remember that monitor lizards are maybe not the closest living relatives, and we have to remember that lifestyle can, of course, modify soft tissue in a way we can't imagine at the moment.
what do you mean by not being the closest living relatives?
There are studies that suggest that maybe snakes are actually a tad bit closer related to mosasaurs.
Yes, I heard about those, but if you look at the monitor skull, it just
I
bears
know.
way too much
I know.
resemblance to the
The question is that all ancestry or convergence?
Maybe snakes are mosasaurs. By the way, back to Brian Eng's artworks. I think I could be wrong because I didn't quite see a clear picture about it, but I think the Hesperornis on that artwork has webbed feet.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that would be inaccurate. An inaccurate choice.
Not necessarily, because we not completely know really how the feet of these guys looked. However,
usually
I have a little bit of problems with the proportions of that Hesperornis. I feel like the head is too large and the torso could be longer. But on the other hand, I don't know what specimens he used for reference, so I will not judge that.
Well, it can happen that it's just some perspective issues.
That's also possible.
On such a large piece, it's quite a issue that could happen. It's quite understandable.
Yeah. Barland, what is your idea on all this?
Hmm?
What is your insight on all this? Your opinion? I know that was mean, just asking you out of the blue. Sorry.
I think
didn't get the question. So
what
Joshua asked, what do you think of Brian Eng's recent Mosasaur artwork?
oh, I love it but the mosasaur is really weird with the snout, the end of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and by the way, the Mosasaur, I think it's quite a usual choice to make the body being so snake-like, even though recently, for example, if you look at the Scott Hartman skeletal drawings, you see that they may have had a rather whale-like body.
Yeah. Although I think that's a perspective issue. In that case, and was it no? The Scott Hartman skeletal drawing wasn't Tylosaurus. I think that was Mosasaurus itself, when I remember correctly.
Yeah, but
And there are differences between the genera.
But among whales, you don't really see big fat whales and snake-like whales.
Yeah.
It's not even sure about Basilosaurus that it was snake-like or not.
Yeah. Although Tylosaurus is, for example, more basal than Mosasaurus. And there are certainly differences. And we have to remember that we don't know how much fat, for example, Mosasaurus had.
What about the Platycarpus?
Well, that's a pretty beefy boy.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure that which one is the more basal one, the Tylosaurus or the Platycarpus.
I think they are both relatively close.
I mean, you see what I mean, because
Yeah.
I pretty much love all of Brian's artwork about this exhibition, including all the other Mosasaur artworks. It's just that Tylosaur seems to be a bit retro-styled, almost like with a body shape similar to the old Burian or Charcernite artworks. The fish-like sail on the back.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously doesn't mean that I don't like the artwork. It's just a minor criticism I have towards it.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I make one more sketch and then we will end the stream. Yeah, I make the Torosaurus.
Oh my god.
What happened?
I just saw a post from Tristan. You know, the little kid first.
Oh, that one, yeah. Yeah.
The mommy, did you know that birds are a type of dinosaur? Also, the same kid. The Elasmosaur dinosaur is the ancestor of turtles and penguins. It's the consistency is quite problematic with this one.
Yeah. I don't know why, but the tablet had no problems so far. It's weird.
Should we mention the glorious Toroceratops argument?
Nah. Better not.
It's whether it's an adult Triceratops, Horridus or Prorsus or not.
Nah, that's just stupid.
As I know, I think there was this blog post about Matt Martinyuk who thinks it was, or at least played with the idea that Torosaurus could be one of the species' adult, and maybe it's changed over the years, over the millions of years.
Yeah,
and
so
at
it's
the time of
anagenesis. Yeah. In the end, you know, I actually don't really care. Because it makes not really a difference for the ecosystem.
Yes,
It's
you know,
both are very, very similar, of course, but it makes no difference if you have in the ecosystem 1, 2, or 10 Triceratops-like species, because they basically all do the same.
Yes, but you know the fans that it does make change in the pop culture.
You know, just for that reason, I would love to see this come true. to say, okay, Triceratops is no more, and then there's a global outcry of people. No, that precious Triceratops. It's just a name, for God's sake.
But by the way, even if that would be the case, shouldn't the Triceratops remain as a more valid?
Yeah. True. Torosaurus would go in that case.
least Nanotyrannus is not a thing anymore.
As much as far, so far we know.
Well, there are pretty much no reasons so far to know.
Yeah,
that
so far. It
because,
could
for example,
change any time, you know.
Change if there would be any reason, but so far even studies about the ontogenetic stages of alligators and chickens show that the biggest argument behind it, the different brain structure, isn't even a valid point at this point, because crocodilians and birds do have some structural changes during their growing, which by the way makes sense in the case of the T-Rex, because it's understandable that as it was growing, it's part of its brain which was responsible for that really good sense of smell was developing even more and more.
Yeah, although in the end we can't really tell. We only know from that study that this sounds maybe silly right now, but I also think that T-Rex is that Nanotyrannus is a juvenile T-Rex, but from that chicken study we only know that these animals do change in their neural anatomy. We don't know, this doesn't say that these are really Tyrannosaurus specimens. It makes these changes very likely that they occurred, but we can't infer 100% from these findings that this is really T-Rex.
But at the moment it's pretty close to 60 or 70%, which is something.
Yeah, that's true. But I just want to say one can never be 100% certain in paleontology or in science in general.
Yes, the biggest example is the current state of Spinosaurus and Sigelmesosaurus.
Yeah.
I remember one of the other arguments behind Nanotyrannus were the lack of mid-sized theropods, T-Rex, and now we have the Velociraptor at least for that.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, there is still new stuff discovered in Hell Creek too, so
it's actually quite interesting to think about it, that we know this place for at least 100 years with its T-Rexes and Triceratops, and only now we have discovered this giant dromaeosaur.
yeah.
And it seems Kirby is still awake.
I'm back.
Yay! Just in time for the last sketch.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Just in time to finish the stream.
Yes, and we have company. Attila is here, and also Barland.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello there.
This people.
Okay, I think I'm finished. I have no idea who picked Pterosaurus, but I made one anyway.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, Brennan just joined. Brennan, I'm doing all these characters Yo-Yo created. I think you were Darwinopterus if I remember correctly, or at least I would guess that you would pick one, because I made one. Let's go over all the ones I made so far. Oh, that's a lot.
Balint.
Hmm?
There are rumors about the airing of a Steven Universe episode tomorrow.
Oh,
Mm.
you made it in the last year. Remember it?
I need to catch up on Steven Universe. The last
Me too.
episode I saw was the one where yeah, me too. It was the episode where Steven was in the bubble in space with the ruby.
Oh, that's been a while.
Oh, so many things to cover up.
I know.
So
I
many
know.
spoilers to run into.
I watched it with my last girlfriend, and then once we broke up, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this show again. I like this show, but I don't know how I'm going to feel watching it.
You will have very mixed feelings, literally.
Okay.
Okay, let's start.
I found another.
We start with the Sinosauroptics from Kirby.
That's me.
Yeah, all fluffy and stripy on the tail.
Just like the rabbit
Just
in
like me in
Infinity
real
War.
life.
Yes. Especially the stripy tail. Then Allosaurus for Yo-Yo. Then Dodo for Unprofessional.
See, Balint. See, there could be Allosaurus's designs without being orange.
Because it's black and white. That's easy. Then we had the Odstarkid for Sassy. The Anchiornis for Julian. Pneumatoraptor for Balint. The Ichthyosaurus for Garrus. And the Ostafricasaurus for Attila. The Pachyrhinosaurus for Zack. The T-Rex for ever-evolving Saurian. That looks a little bit too much like a real T-Rex. Then a quick Godzilla doodle, followed by a Darwinopterus that looks unimpressed. And we finished with Torosaurus, or Toroceratops, however you want to call it.
I'm gonna call it Tim.
Also nice.
I'm gonna call it Triceratops. Just kidding.
I just call it Knut.
I call it Triceratops, but really long.
Maybe Torosaurus was just a Triceratops, but with a mohawk.
Maybe it was a Triceratops xenomorph hybrid.
Maybe it was a Triceratops that just ate that just had a vegan diet and was so healthy that it grew this especially large frill.
Or maybe it was a Triceratops whose plastic surgery went really wrong.
That's also possible.
I believe you mean hair surgery.
Okay, that was last stream of tonight. Brennan, if you have something you want to see still, maybe your Darwinopterus wasn't your Darwinopterus. I don't know. Let me know. Otherwise, we close the stream now. After I checked Discord again.
So we can make it longer.
There's always room for another sketch.
It was a pleasure to be here a little bit at the beginning of the stream and then a little bit right at the very end.
Yeah. When you guys look in the Spec Evo Topics channel, you see 2 drawings from Dragon Thunders that look very nice. That one looks like a Chickenosaurus.
Oh, I really like this dedicated mammoth.
Yeah.
I like Dr. Spooky's. I like his art style.
It has something soft always, for some reason. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, but I like it too.
Putting your finger on soft things is never a good sign.
I know it's too hot outside these days.
Yeah.
The puns.
You are too hot outside.
Yes, all the time. Okay, guys. That would be everything for tonight, I think. Or to quote Steven Universe again, that would be everything.
That would be all.
That would be all. Why? Oh yes, I remembered wrong. Okay. Please leave a like, share and subscribe and a comment and share with your friends, foes, family, pets, and family and friends and pets. Some last words from you guys.
Did you remember to put in the family, pets, and friends?
Yes, because we are a family-friendly channel.
Also, don't try this at home. Don't try this at home because it could be dangerous.
Yeah, especially when Attila tries to be David Attenborough. That can be very dangerous. Please don't try that.
Especially because this is supposed to be a Christian server.
Yes. Okay. Some last words from you guys?
I'm going to come up with a clever catchphrase to end the shows with, but not right now.
Yes.
Maybe next time.
Please do that. That's your homework for tomorrow.
All I want to say is watch the Godzilla trailer again.
Next time I try to say something.
Yes, please do that. We will give you all the room and silence you need to say something.
I won't.
We will support you with money, energy.
Yeah, I will stare at the microphone so long until you will say something. Yeah. The silence will be sickening. Okay, good night everybody.